Whew. So I'm about an hour and a half into the long run. So far, so good. I'm enjoying the day. It's a little below freezing, so my face is kind of numb. A little hard to talk at times. Alright, I'm gonna keep pushing forward. Whew. So, week 6 is in the books now, after finishing that long run. And I see Bella's out here waiting for me. Oh, my legs felt like they were starting to give out around mile 15, so I'm glad I'm not running the marathon today. But we are getting there, a little at a time. Alright, Bella. Oh, Bella, you don't even have your vest on. Oh my goodness. Oh, yeah, I know you're a good girl. Alright, time to go stretch out. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. So check it out, see what just came in the mail today. If you're an Asics fan, these are the Asics Gel-Nimbus 25s. So I'm going to be excited to give these a go. Boy, they look quite a bit different than the Nimbus 24. Look at that stack height. I'm going to be really curious to see how these feel on my feet. You know, they could not have come at a better time. Week 6, which is what I'm going to summarize here today, it was a pretty intense week. Now, we get a pretty good build-up from week 6, 7, and 8 in terms of overall intensity, the number of miles that we're running, that kind of thing. And for week number 6, it was pretty intense. You know, I had 3 different speed sessions, you know, 1 recovery run and then 1 long run. So coming into week 7, where it's a little less intense than that, I'm going to have a recovery run coming up tomorrow, and then, you know, I'll have some intervals and an easy run, but I won't be doing quite as much speed work as I did last week. So these are going to come in handy for that recovery run, I think, as well as that easy run. So I'm excited to put these on my feet and give them a try. I'm going to set these aside. Okay. So first thing I want to do is say thanks to everybody who commented on the last video that I posted, where we were talking about, you know, a little bit about swag and superstition. I really appreciate everybody who took the time to add to the conversation. I'm kind of falling in that same camp with all of you. I think the majority, if not everybody, basically said that they don't wear the swag until after they've run the event, or maybe the day of the event itself to wear it for the event. But typically, it sounds like most people are in the camp that they want to earn it before they wear it. And I fall in that same camp as well. Now, for Boston, however, I did pick up some Boston swag, but it's not the official race swag that Boston will give you, you know, when you sign or when you go in for your packet pickup. This is gear that Rabbit has put out that has the, you know, kind of that official looking Boston sign. I picked up both the singlet as well as the long sleeve. So I'm going to pause this just a second and pull it out and show you what it looks like. Okay, so I am back. So both the singlet and the long sleeve are made by Rabbit, if I didn't mention that already. So let's take a look at the singlet first. So this is the racing singlet that they've come out with. I think it looks pretty darn sharp. And it has lots of ventilation there in the back. So I think this is a real contender for race day. But we'll see. You know, now this is something that I want to run in at least 1 or 2 times ahead of time, just to make sure I didn't have any kind of chafing, any kind of issues. Sometimes with singlets, if they don't fit me just right, they tend to want to slide off one shoulder or the other, and that can be a bit of a nuisance and a distraction when you're trying to run. You don't want to be messing around trying to keep your clothes on. So that's the singlet, and then I did pick up a long sleeve as well. Same basic design, only again it's got long sleeves, super thin material, pretty much the same material as the front of the singlet there, but again it has the full sleeves on it. Also very lightweight, good option. I think could be a good option depending on what the weather's like and whether or not I'm going to need or feel like I want something a little bit warmer for that day. So we'll see. I'm not sure what to expect for weather. I'm guessing it's going to be somewhere around probably the low 40s, maybe mid 40s, something like that, but I'm not exactly sure. We'll see. So let's go ahead and take a look at the summary for this week. It was a really good week overall in terms of training goes. And to do that, I'm going to look over at my computer screen. And again, I'm going to go to connect.garmin.com. And I'm going to just hit screen record so I can share it with you here. And I've already logged in. I'm already at my activities page. And right now I'm looking at all of the different activities. So you can see that I had 6 different yoga sessions. I ran 5 different times, 3 interval sessions, 1 recovery run, and then 1 long run. So from here, I'm going to just click on run. So that's all that we're looking at. And the first run activity was on February 1st, where I ran some intervals. Even though the week of training started on January 31st, that was a rest day for me. So the first run opportunity I had was on February 1st. So let's go ahead and click on that intervals and see what comes up. I went 7.56 miles, and I'm going to scroll all the way down to the bottom where it says stats. And it had VO2 max was the training effects, and it was highly impacting. I always like to see that. My heart rate, 158 beats per minute on average with a max heart rate of 170 beats per minute. That's not too bad at this stage in the game. And an average pace of 7:29 minute mile with my best pace being a 5:55. I was probably running downhill at that point because I'm not a speed demon. So 5:55, I had to been going downhill. 185 steps per minute in terms of my overall average cadence. 201 steps per minute was my max cadence. I like to see that. 1.16 meter average stride length. And again, my ground contact time was a little bit more on my left than it was on my right foot. And since we did run intervals, this was an interval session. So I'm going to scroll up just a tad and click on intervals so we can take a look at those individually. So these were set up as 10-minute intervals, 2-minute rest period in between, and I ran it 3 times. So a total of 30 minutes of hard running. With the first interval, it was a 6:37-minute pace. All right, I like to see that. And then I slowed down a little bit to a 6:47-minute pace. Still not terrible. And then slowed up again just a little bit more than that for the third one at a 6:53-minute mile pace. So overall, I was pretty darn happy with the way that interval session turned out. Okay, so let's back up here. And we'll go on to the next run activity that we had, which was on February 2nd. So you can see I ran the first, second, and third in a row. So let's click on that, and that's a recovery run. So 5.22 miles in total for that run. And scroll all the way down here to the bottom. And it had an effect on my training as tempo, impacting. So I like that. I like it better than saying declining or even maintaining for that matter. Sometimes maintaining is good, but I like it when my workouts show an impact. 151 beats per minute average heart rate, 161 beats per minute max heart rate. Average pace of 7:41 minute mile. Now that's my marathon goal pace. Basically, if I can beat it, that would be awesome. But 7:41 is what I ended up running in Detroit. So I'd like to at least do as well as that. 183 steps per minute for cadence. On average, 194 steps was my max. Average stride length, I think, was the same as before. So still 1.15 meters. And again, my ground contact with my left foot is a little bit more than it is on my right foot. Okay, so let's go back again. So now we're back running intervals. So we did intervals, 3 10 minutes. And then we went to a recovery run, and now we're going to intervals again. And here we're in a little less distance, 6.37 miles. And I'll scroll all the way down here to the bottom. VO2 max was the primary effect, highly impacting. Love to see that. 154 beats per minute, 166 beats per minute max. 7:42 minute mile pace on average, and 184 steps per minute was my average cadence. 201 steps per minute, my max cadence. And interesting, my stride length was just a little bit less, it looks like, at 1.13 meters. Again, my left foot, considerably more ground contact time during this workout than it was in the previous ones, at 51.3% on my left and 48.8% on my right. And since these are intervals, let's go ahead and click on those to see what they look like. So here we're running 3-minute intervals, and it looks like I ran them 5 different times. So with 1.5 minutes in between. And the first was 6:35, so that was good. And then 6:23, and then 6:44, 6:32, 6:41. So not too bad, not too bad. In fact, that's pretty darn good for me to run that set of intervals. And then we had a rest day and then back to running intervals again. So it was a big, heavy on the speed work for week 6. 7.35 miles total. And I'll scroll all the way down. VO2 max was the primary effect, highly impacting. 158 beats per minute for heart rate. 169 beats per minute was the max for my heart rate. And the 726 minute mile average pace, with my best pace being 550. 183 steps per minute was my average cadence. 197 steps was my max cadence. I kind of thought that would be over 200, but 197. 1.18 meter stride length, so a little longer, I think, than the previous runs. My ground contact time, it seems like it's going up with my left, so maybe it is the camber of the road. It could be a lot of things. I'm not going to read too much into that, but it is something I'm paying attention to. Okay, so I am going to click on intervals. So I'm going to scroll up just a tad so I can get to it, intervals. And here I was back running the 10-minute intervals, only this time I had a 1.5-minute recovery as opposed to 2 minutes in between the intervals. First one was a 6:39 minute mile pace, then 6:51, then 6:57. So not too shabby, not too shabby. We'll take that. And then let's see, we'll back out of there, and that brings us to the long run, which was yesterday that I completed. Went 19.22 miles altogether. It was kind of around town, outside of town, and back again. All paved roads. Pretty much ran on the road. I had the A-Zone lighted vest on over the top of my hydration vest, so I had quite a bit of gear on me as I was running around. Tempo was the primary effect. It says overreaching. Probably true. I don't know. I felt okay for the most part. My legs are a little sore. My quads are a little sore today from the run yesterday. But overall, I felt pretty good at the end of it. 150 beats per minute was my average heart rate. 157 beats per minute was the max heart rate. 2 hours and 40 minutes to get around. An 8:20 minute mile average pace. My best pace was 6:40. Sure, that was going downhill somewhere. 180 steps per minute was my average cadence. 196 was my max. A little less stride length, not surprising since I was running a little slower. 1.07 meters. And my ground contact with my left and right kind of evened out just a little bit. It was much closer to 50-50 on this one. It's 50.4% versus 49.6%, so not too terribly bad. Nothing to look at in terms of intervals. Okay, so that is all of the different run activities. In total, I wrote this down, so hold on, 45.72 miles. Now next week, for week 7, that mileage will come down because remember, this is a little bit of a roller coaster going uphill kind of a thing. So we kind of run a little more one week, a little less, but then we'll run a little bit more the week after that, and then a little bit less, and a little bit more until we get to the peak, which is going to be probably somewhere around week 8, somewhere in that ballpark. Okay, so thanks for making it to the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it for you. As always, run tall, run strong, be kind to one another. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on Run Tall with Tim. Oh, and just one more thing. If you guys are watching on the Saturday Run Fast, Cook Fast, Eat Slow series, I think I'm going to be making some molasses granola bars. So those should be pretty good. I've been enjoying those muffins all week. All right, we'll catch you later.